the last week, we have covered fourth canto. Two more cantos are remaining. So this 1 year, the remaining part of this year, we should be able to complete. So from now on, we should not skipping so many classes. We should be doing regularly. So fifth canto and sixth canto, very interesting cantos. Very nice description is there. We should be doing it very nicely. So in the fifth canto, first chapter, we will see the activities of King Priyavrata. So the first chapter described how Priyavrata, following the order of Brahma, ruled the kingdom, and then after giving it up, attained the Supreme Lord. As we have already discussed in the previous canto, from 30th chapter there was a clue about Daksha that will continue 6th canto onwards. And the 31st chapter at the end, Sukadeva Goswami briefly summarizes the life of Priyavrata Maharaj. That will begin the discussion of 5th canto. So we will see that also what is that. So 5th canto contains total 26 chapters. The first 15 chapters continues the lineage of Swayambhu Manu's children. The 4th canto, first 7 chapter talked about the daughters of Swayambhu Manu. Then remaining chapters talked about Uttanapada and his descendants. Now 5th canto, first 15 chapters talks about the Priyavrata and his descendants. And then this is all part of Visarga. Then chapter 16-26 talks about the geography of the entire universe, which is the Sthana, the third topic of the Bhagavatam, how the universe is being maintained, etc. etc. So in this canto, the geography of the universe as Sthana, where the Devatas, men and demons reside, and its protection by the Devatas are described. So the first 3 chapters talk about the stories of Priyavrata, Agnidra and Nabi. Next 3 chapters talk about the story of Lord Rishabhadev. Then 8 chapters talks about the pastimes of Bharat Maharaj in 3 lifetimes. First Bharata as the king, then Bharata as the deer, then Bharata as the Brahmana. So in that way. Then 1 chapter describes the story of King Gaya. The remaining descendants of Priyavrata, they are all described in the 15th chapter. Then 4 chapters describe Jambudvipa and its mountains and trees. 19, 20, 16, 17, 18, 19. 4 chapters talks about Jambudvipa. Chapter 20 talks about the remaining 6 islands of the Bhumandala. Then 2 chapters describe the zodiac. All the planets, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, etc. are described in 2 chapters, 21-22. Chapter 23 talks about Dhruvaloka. And 24 talks about Bhuvarloka and Belaswargas. 25th chapter talks about Lord Ananta. 26th chapter talks about hellish planetary systems. So this is the discussion about Canto 5. So we will be seeing step by step. So this is the chapter 1 containing 41 verses. So wonderful description of Priyavrata. Hearing that King Priyavrata first renounced and then accepted material enjoyment, King Parikshit was surprised. Learning knowledge of Atma from Narada Muni, Priyavrata, after enjoying the earth, divided among his sons and attained the Lord's abode. This was mentioned in 4:31, 26 and 27. So remembering these words, which recently spoken, Parikshit Maharaj asked a question. So questions 1 to 4 are questions of Parikshit Maharaj, and then the answers will be revealed. Rajo Vacha Priyavrato Bhagavata Atma Ramaha Katam Mune Gruhe Rameta Yanmula Karma Bandha Parabhavaha.
Translation. King Parikshit inquired from Sukadeva Goswami, O great sage, why did King Priyavrata, who was a great self-realized devotee of the Lord, remain in household life, which is the root cause of the bondage of karma, productive activities? and which defeat the mission of human life.
So the reason is understanding the nature of Atma. Priyavrata Maharaj remained in the ashram. He did not go home. But after long time, after long practice in the renounced order, why did he went home and married and enjoyed the kingdom and all these things? But in spite of that, how did he attain the Supreme Lord? That is kind of a paradox. One who is already in the renounced will not go back, but he went. One who is too much attached to family will not be renounced and attain spiritual world, but he attained. How is that? That was the point. Oh sage, how did the great devotee and Atma Rama Priyavrata enjoy household life, which is a cause of bondage to karma and which defeats even a pure soul? So that was the first question. Priyavrata was a devotee and Atma Rama like you. So Parikshit Maharaj addressing Sukadeva Goswami, so comparing with him. How could he enjoy family life, which is a cause of bondage to karma and defeats even a pure person like Priyavrata? So that was the question. He further continued the question. Nanunam mukta sanganam
ननूनं मुक्तसङ्गानां
tadrishanam dvijarshabha
तादृशानां द्विजर्षभ
गृहेषु अभिनिवेशोऽयम्
येषु अभिनिवेशोऽयं
पुंसां भवितुमर्हति.
पुंसां भवितुमर्हति. Devotees are certainly liberated persons. Therefore, O greatest of Brahmanas, they cannot possibly be absorbed in family affairs.
Here he says, O best of the Brahmanas, persons such as Priyavrata, free from material attachments, should certainly not become absorbed in family life. First of all, he did not want to go home, but he went home and he married and enjoying like that. So this is seems to be little contradictory. How to understand? Being a great devotee, such attachment is not possible. But Priyavrata exhibited how Mahatam kalu viprarshe
महतां खलु विप्रर्षे
uttama shloka padayo
उत्तमश्लोकपादयोः
chaya nirvritta chittanam
छाया निर्वृत्तचित्तानां
na kutumbe spruha matihi.
न कुटुम्बे स्पृहा मतिः. Elevated Mahatmas who have taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are fully satiated by the shade of those lotus feet. Their consciousness cannot possibly become attached to family members.
One whose heart is attracted to Supreme Lord cannot divert here and there. So, but here seems to be little different, like that. Oh, best of the Brahmanas, great souls like Priyavrata, whose minds are blissfully engaged in meditation on the lotus feet of Supreme Lord, which extinguish samsara, are not so foolish to desire household life. Who stayed in the ashram for so long, how did he come back? That is the point. The reason is that they are attached to the Lord. Those whose minds constantly engaged in meditation on the Lord are blissful because of the shade of Lord's lotus feet, which extinguish samsara, and they do not have any ignorance of desires for family. So finally says, Samshayoyam Mahan Brahman
संशयोऽयं महान् ब्रह्मन्
Daragara Sutadishu
दारागारसुतादिषु
Saktaya Siddhirabot
सक्तया
Saktasya Siddhirabot
सक्तस्य यस्तिर्भूत्
Krishne Cha Matirachyuta.
कृष्णे च मतिरच्युता. Translation: The king continued, O great Brahmana, This is my great doubt. How was it possible for a person like King Priyavrata, who was so attached to wife, children, and home, to achieve the topmost infallible perfection in Krishna consciousness?
Hmm. This is the final thing. Oh, great Brahmana. My doubt is that though he was attached to wife, house, and children, Dara, Agara, Suta, Adishu, and kingdom, he still attained perfection and always thought of Krishna. How is that? One whose attachment is too much about house, wife, children, kingdom, and other things, it is very difficult to have attachment to Lord Krishna. But he simultaneously attachment for both and went back home back to Godhead. How is it that though, because of some aparadha, he became attached to household life, he still attained perfection and his attention did not wave from Krishna? Is it some aparadha because of which he had to go back and become attached to family and then once aparadha is removed and he went back to Godhead? Is it like that? He's just throwing some stones to understand why things happen like this. So that is the intention. So now let us see what Sukadeva Goswami will say. And by the way, Canto 5, mostly most of it will be prose. Many places, many verses will be in prose. So prose will not be able to recite. So we'll simply read translation and then move on. So someone can read the translation for the fifth verse.
Sri Shukdev Goswami says, what you have said is correct. The glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is praised, is equivalent, transcendental verses by such exalted personalities as Brahma are very pleasing to great devotees and liberated persons. One who is attached to the nectar and honey of the Lord's lotus feet and whose mind is always absorbed in his glories may sometimes be checked by some impediment, still but he still never gives up the exalted position he has acquired.
Sukadeva Goswami echoes with the same mode as that of Parikshit Maharaj. He says, what you have said is true. But those whose minds are absorbed in the sweet taste of the lotus feet of Supreme Lord do not generally give up the auspicious path of topics of the Supreme Lord, who is dear to the greatest devotee. Though there may be some obstacle, such a devotee will never give up. Apiche Suduracharo Bhajate Ma Mananyabhak Sadhureva Samantavya Samyak Yogisoisa. Even if unknowingly, accidentally, if they make mistake, they will never give up path of bhakti. That is the nature of devotees. So, like this. Sukadeva Goswami accepts the question but refutes it. It is true that it is not possible for the Atma Rama to become attached to household life and for the person attached to household life to be attached to Krishna. Yes, what you said is actually true, but however, but you should not think that the great devotees of inconceivable character would ever even temporarily become attached to material things. That is expressed in this verse. Yes, personalities like Priyavrata Maharaj, apparently it may appear to be there too attached to all these things. But in the core of the heart, they never. Their attachment is for the Lord's lotus feet only. Those whose minds are absorbed in the Lord do not reject the topics of the Lord, which are most dear to the Paramahamsas or Bhagavatas, though the topics are somewhat interrupted. Apparently, it may seem that they are interrupted, but they are not. They never give up in the core of the heart. That is the understanding. Those topics are the path giving happiness to the devotees. Since by that path that the devotee attain the Lord, but does not follow. But does the following verse not show there is an obstacle? So then, as it is said in the previous sentence, that though the topics are somewhat interrupted, somebody may ask, what is the cause for interruption? Is it because of offense? Aparad? Is the verse does not show? So there is some verse in the later part of the Bhagavatam which kind of indicate an offense. 10 to 33. Second canto, 10th canto, second chapter. I think Devatas are praying. तथानते माधवतावका क्वचित् पृश्यन्ति मार्गा त्वयि बद्धसहृदा त्वया विगुप्ता विचरन्ति निर्भया विनायकानीकपमूर्धसु प्रभु. O Madhava, O Supreme Lord, the Lordess of Goddess of Fortune, if devotees completely in love with you sometimes fall from the path of devotion, they do not fall like non-devotees, for you still protect them. Thus, they fearlessly travel the heads of their opponents and continue to progress in devotional service. So sometimes the apparent fall down of devotees is actually not the true fall down. That is only momentary, because Lord is there from behind protecting them always. So that is understanding. True, the devotee does not have any obstacle arising from Kala and Karma. So the effect of Kala is seen within us through the 6 changes that we go through: birth, growth, giving byproducts, staying for a while, dwindling, and dying. They are the 6 transformations our body goes through. These are by the influence of Kala. And we are also influenced by Maya. Maya is the repeated cycle of birth and death. Because of our incomplete desires, we take birth time and again. That is the influence of Maya. But devotees who have completely taken shelter of the Supreme Lord are not influenced by Kala and Maya. Nayatra Kala Vikrama. When there was a discussion about Vaikuntha in the second canto 9th chapter, Nayatra Kala Vikrama, Maya Kutapare. There is no influence of Kala, then what to speak of Maya in the Vaikuntha? So in that way. So in the Vaikuntha, these two things will not happen. The 6 changes of the body and the cycle of transmigration will not take place in spiritual world. In that way. However, there are 2 types of obstacles for the devotee. Of course, there are no obstacles from the point of view of Kala and from the point of view of Maya. But in devotee's life, there are 2 kinds of obstacles that are caused by great offense, that are caused by Lord's desire. Sometimes when devotees unknowingly commit a mistake, commit a aparadha to other devotees, that will lead to some time stagnation of spiritual progress. But again, it will continue. And sometimes Lord himself uses the devotees as an instrument in this world to teach all of us. That also apparently seems to be like interruption, but it is not actually interruption. Because Lord himself is only using them. Lord himself will take the responsibility of protecting them. So in that way. And here in the case of offense, how devotee wants to rectify that offense, that will determine one's spiritual progress. Great offense is pacified over a long time after undergoing appropriate difficulties, or is quickly removed by the mercy of great devotees. Examples are Dvivida and Rahugana. Dvivida performed an offense against Lakshmana. As a result of that, he had become the associate of the Asuras. Then he became so naughty during the time of Lord Krishna and Balram, and he fought with Balram and he was delivered by Balramji. In the Ramayana time, he was kind of neglecting the respect towards Lakshmana. He was only offering respect to Rama. He was thinking Lakshmana to be other person and he was not showing any respect to Lakshmana. That was a great aparadha which he performed, which bore fruit in the time of Mahabharata, where Balramji had to fight with Dvivida and kill him. So in that way. And then Rahugana, in the 5th canto only we study. Initially Rahugana was kind of chastising left and right our Brahmana Bharata. But later on when he understood this Brahmana Bharata is a great devotee, then immediately surrendered. So he received the mercy of Brahmana Bharata and attained perfection. So in his case, it immediately. In Dvivida did not realize that he made offense. So he had to wait for a long time. From Ramayana time to Mahabharata time. The Lord's desire means to teach proper conduct to the devotees. And not to the devotee means not to that person, but to all of us. Lord uses some of his devotees as an instrument and he teaches all of us. And the obstacle arising from the Lord's desire only increases prema in the devotee. An example is Bharata. So in the case of Bharata Maharaj, we see that Bharata Maharaj became attracted to the deer. He gave up his sadhana. He became deer, and then he became Brahmana Bharata. In the life of Brahmana Bharata, his attachment for the Lord is 1,000 times much more superior. That is to teach all of us. But the instrument attained greater love, but all of us also learn lesson. So in that way. Here Priyavrata is also one such example like Bharata. For momentarily he has come down from ashram to home. So apparently seems to be like there is some stagnation, but Lord himself produced intense love within him later part after his duties are over. So in that way. Since Priyavrata did not commit offense, his obstacle arose by the desire of the Supreme Lord. The Lord taught his devotee by showing through adoration for a deer that the devotee should not have attachment, though they may think such attachment is good quality. Showing compassion to motherless is a good quality. But for a person who has renounced everything and the path back home back to Godhead, at that time it may not be a good quality. At that time, the compassion should be like protect it and offer it to someone who can take care of them day to day life. One should not take that complete responsibility. That may not be good because he has already given the day to day duties thing and he is exclusively practicing bhakti in the Vanaprastha order. So, according to the situation, one need to show the compassion. So, in that way. It should be understood that in the case of Priyavrata, that the Lord taught the devotee should follow the order of the superiors, though it is not suitable for unalloyed bhakti, by showing how Priyavrata followed the order of Lord Brahma. For the time being, it may seem to be little difficult, and it is against the principles of Shuddha Bhakti, but following the order of great devotees, eventually one will be greatly benefited. Here the example is our Priyavrata. Canto 3, Chapter 12, Text 4 and 5. I think the four Kumaras concept is being indicated here. So, what was mentioned? Brahma created Sanaka, Sanatana, Sananda, and Sanat Kumara, who are free of material actions and strict in Brahmacharya. Brahma said to his sons, create progeny. Being devoted to the Supreme Lord and intent on liberation, they did not agree to do so. There, Brahma requested for Kumaras, create progeny. But four Kumaras did not agree. They were not inclined to produce progeny because Karma Yoga producing ignorance destroys knowledge. Because they understood there is a danger associated with Karma Yoga. That's why they did not want to take up that. But however, here Priyavrata accepted it on the request of Brahma, on the responsibility of Brahma. So, but he did his duties and he also got benefited. That is there. But their Kumara's purpose is different and their Priyavrata's purpose is different. So apparently one may say that Kumaras objected. So then, no, he objected for a higher purpose, not for personal this thing. But in the case of Priyavrata, he does not have that kind of higher purpose. For Priyavrata, it was his personal choice to continue as a mendicant. But for Kumaras, continuing as a mendicant is to become the teachers of Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. In order to teach Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, one cannot be in Grihastha ashram. Apana acharati Prabhu Sabashikayala. In order to practice Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, one should be in the renounced order. In order to teach that, the teacher also should be in the renounced order. So that was the bigger purpose of four Kumaras. So that was valid there. So we cannot undermine four Kumaras because of this comparison. So in this way, we can see the contrast between different personalities in the Bhagavatam. So one thing we can understand here is whether it is Bharata Maharaj, whether it is Priyavrata, what happened to them is not by their own personal choice, but it was Lord's desire to show all of us the lesson. What is good, what is not good in some circumstances. Here it is the need of the hour to take care of the kingdom. So he had to come home following the words of the elders, and he was blessed for that. There it was not good for Bharata Maharaj being a renounced. He had given up the worldly responsibilities and now again he's taking back worldly responsibilities. That delayed his spiritual progress. So in that way, we have to understand. Of course, both the pastimes are in the fifth canto only. We'll study them elaborately. Next, another prose verse. Someone can read the translation.
Sukadeva Goswami continued, my dear Prince
Okay, go on,
Priyavrata
Prabhu.
was a great devotee because he sought the lotus feet of Narada, his spiritual master, and thus achieved the highest perfection in transcendental knowledge. With advanced knowledge, he always engaged in discussing spiritual subjects and did not divert his attention to anything else. The prince's father then asked him to take charge of ruling the world. He tried to convince Priyavrata that this was his duty as indicated in the revealed scriptures. Prince Priyavrata, however, was continuously practicing Bhakti Yoga by constantly remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thus engaging all his senses in the service of the Lord. Therefore, thus engaging all his senses in the service of the Lord. Therefore, although the order of his father could not be rejected, the prince did not welcome it. Thus, he very consciously raised the question of whether he might be diverted from devotional service by accepting the responsibility of ruling over the world.
O king, when Priyavrata, the son of the when Priyavrata, the son of Swambhu Manu, the greatest of all devotees, who had become fully conversant with the highest goal and truth by serving the lotus feet of Narada. He was actually in the Gurukula of Narada. He was a student of Narada Muni and had attained initiation by meditation on Atma. Was requested by his father Manu to rule the earth, to rule the Bhumandala, because he possessed all the qualities mentioned in the scriptures for kingship, since he was completely absorbed with all the senses and actions in worshipping the Lord through unbroken concentration. So see, Priyavrata possessed suitable qualities to be a king. So what is that quality suitable for a king? That is, he was completely absorbed with all his senses, all his activities, all his mind in worshipping the Lord through unbroken concentration. This is the primary quality for a person to become a king. But even though his father Swayambhu Manu requested him to come home, Priyavrata did not welcome the suggestion. Though it could not be refused, the father's order cannot be refused, but Priyavrata did not welcome. He considered that it would be unfavorable for him, since he would display the lust and anger in himself when ruling the kingdom. Just like four Kumaras refused their father Brahma when Brahma asked them to get children after marrying, Priyavrata also in one sense refused his father. No. Yeah, ruling kingdom, everything is good. But by the way, while doing that, I may be affected by kama, krodha, lobha, etc. etc. So I don't want to put myself in a fragile situation. Like that, very respectfully, he denied. King Priyavrata's status as an Atma Rama was natural. By the mercy of great sage Narada, he had become the greatest among devotees. Only by the order of Lord Brahma did he take up the household life. That is stated in this verse. In the next verse, we see that Brahma comes down and Brahma only tells him to take up, then he takes up. But he said no to his father. Vava means certainly. When ordered by his father to do so, to do this for protecting the earth, he did not welcome the order. Then Brahma made his appearance from his own abode. By serving Narada, he quickly became fully knowledgeable on the highest goal and truths and attained initiation through meditation on Atma. Since he was the student of Narada Muni, he learnt everything about the Supreme Lord and he attained the Samadhi state. He could able to meditate and even he could see Paramatma in the core of the heart and he would meditate on the Supreme Lord. He had already attained a Brahmabhuta platform. Then he became eager to limit himself with determination to experience only the Supreme Lord full of eternity, knowledge and bliss and not any material objects. So he decided that I have already come to Samadhi platform, let me continue like this. That was his decision. That means he attained perfection in his sadhana. He does not want to divert here and there. At that moment, because he steadily manifested all the qualities mentioned in the scriptures for ruling the kingdom, his father Manu asked him to rule the kingdom. Because there was no one to rule the kingdom, his father Swayambhu Manu came there to request Priyavrata. Oh Priyavrata, now you must protect the world. But Priyavrata did not welcome the request. Priyavrata did not desire to do so because he thought it was not beneficial for him. Why? Ruling the kingdom is not beneficial for Priyavrata. Priyavrata was constantly engaged in concentrating without break on the Lord with all his senses and activities. Though what his father said could not be rejected, he protested, saying, I will not rule the kingdom. Why did he say like that? He considered that he would be affected by improper qualities like lust and anger in ruling the kingdom. Yes, in ruling the kingdom, things like expanding, increasing the koshagar, collecting more taxes, this, that, so many things will be there. So one may be affected by that, like that he thought. Then Lord Brahma will come down to convince Priyavrata. Hare Krishna. One may say that why Brahma had to come down to convince him. Later on, we'll understand. We may not be able to discuss today, but in one of the future classes, we'll understand. Even this whole fifth canto is a testimony for that. Because Priyavrata came down and accepted. As a result of that, Priyavrata himself did some of the wonderful activities. And in his dynasty, great personalities like Rishabhadev and Bharata Maharaj appeared. If it was not for Brahma's request, Priyavrata could have not done such wonderful activities today. We could not have remembered him. Because the Priyavrata did it, we are remembering him. Otherwise, if it would continue to stay in the Varna ashram and go back to Godhead, we could not have discussed him. After coming here, what he did that made him famous. And also, his descendants like Rishabhadev and Bharat Maharaj also made him famous. So that all happened because he came back. So that is because of Brahma. Yeah. All of you are able to follow Hare Krishna?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
Prabhuji.
okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Please read the translation for verse number 7.
Sri Sukadev Goswami continued, the first created being and most powerful demigod in this universe is Lord Brahma, who is always responsible for developing universal affairs. Born directly from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he dedicates his activities to the welfare of the entire universe, for he knows the purpose of the universal creation. This supremely powerful Lord Brahma, accompanied by his associates and the personified Vedas, left his own abode in the highest planetary system and descended to the place of Prince Priyavrata's meditation. Hare Krishna.
Swayambhu Manu was requesting him, come home and take care of the kingdom. Priyavrata said, no, my dear father, please forgive me. Please excuse me. I don't have any thought of coming home. I want to continue here. I've already attended Samadhi platform. Very soon I'll come back to Godhead. Then Brahma, who understands the intentions of all beings, who engaged in meditation on the creation of the universe, appeared on earth from Satyaloka, surrounded by his followers. Just like Priyavrata wanted to go back home back to Godhead, all the citizens also want to go back home back to Godhead. But for the people to go back home back to Godhead, there should be proper facilities should be created. If the facilities are not there, they cannot practice their sadhana and go back home back to Godhead. It is the responsibility of the king to oversee that proper facilities are provided so that people can practice bhakti and go back home back to Godhead. Now the facilitator is missing. Who else could be the best facilitator than Priyavrata? So that is the whole connection. Then Brahma always engaged in contemplating the prosperity of the creation of the universe. Because this universe is Brahma's creation. So it is Brahma's responsibility to make sure that the universe attains its purpose. The purpose of the universe is providing facilities for the Jivatma to enjoy and providing facilities for Jivatma to go back home back to Godhead. So Brahma is always concerned about this only. While determining the intentions of all living entities, just as the king determined the intention of all subjects through his servants, surrounded by Marichi and others, as well as the personified Vedas, appeared on earth from Satyaloka to show proofs of the Dharma to be taught to Priyavrata. So Brahmaji came down from Satyaloka to greater Himalayas, where Badrikashram, Narada Muni's ashram, our Priyavrata is practicing his sadhana. So in that way, knowing that Priyavrata detached, now why? Who is Priyavrata is all about? Of course, Priyavrata is the son of Uttana Swayambhuva Manu, is the elder brother of Uttanapada. But the complete story of Priyavrata is mentioned here now. So the two sons were sent to Gurukul. After studies are over, Uttanapada returned and Priyavrata remained. So why did he remain? Knowing that Priyavrata detached since childhood would leave the house and go to the forest, Swayambhuva Manu appointed Priyavrata's younger brother to rule the kingdom. So since the temperament of Priyavrata is to be like a mendicant, and Swayambhuva Manu made Uttanapada the next king. Uttanapada descendants up to the Prachetas ruled the kingdom. In this way, half of Swayambhuva Manvantara passed. Daksha was born second time. First time after joining a goat head, and second time at the son of Prachetas. During Daksha Yajna, Veerabhadra cut off the neck of Daksha and threw it in the fire sacrifice. Later on, Lord Shiva joined the goat head to Daksha's body and revived him. So he died and born again. But with the goat head, he could not live long. He died once again by the natural time, natural course of time. And then he appeared as the son of 10 Prachetas through Marisha. So Daksha was born a second time as the son of the Prachetas during Swayambhu Manvantara. But with a desire to attain his previous powers, he went to perform austerities. After 10 Prachetas, Daksha was supposed to be the next ruler, but he did not become the king. He went to forest to perform austerities to regain his former position. That's why, since there was no king, Swayambhu Manu, seeing no alternative, wanted to bring Priyavrata back from the forest. Now there is no king who will rule the kingdom, and there is other person cannot be made as a king, because king should be in their lineage only, because that is called Manvantara system. So now he cannot marry and beget children, and he cannot rule because he already retired. So he requested his son Priyavrata. He came to Priyavrata and requesting him. When he was not able to bring him back, Lord Brahma came and make Priyavrata rule the kingdom. When Swayambhu Manu failed to convince him, Brahma came down and he convinced Priyavrata. But since it is not, it is being mentioned. And then Priyavrata's descendants ruled until the fifth Manvantara. Since third, fourth, and fifth Manus, Uttama, Tamasa, Raivata were the sons of Priyavrata. With only the second Manu Swarochisha intervening. He was the son of Agni. The sons and grandsons of these Manus ruled as the kings over the earth as descendants of Priyavrata's line. Then during the Chakshusha Manu, giving up his austerities, Daksha was performing austerities from Swayambhu Manu. He will continue to perform austerities till Chakshusha Manvantara. There he gives up his austerities. Daksha, in Uttanapada's line, became the king and engaged in producing the population. Whether he really became king or not, we don't know. But that time, he actually repopulated the entire universe with all the living entities. Because when Lord Matsya appeared to King Satyavrata, there was a pralaya. During that pralaya, Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, Swargaloka, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, Patala, all these 10 lokas are completely inundated by water and completely destroyed. So it was the response, Lord Brahma empowered Daksha to repopulate all these 10 lokas. So in Chakshusha Manvantara, he did all this. He regained his powers. So this was mentioned in the first canto, fourth canto, 30th verse. So this will continue in the sixth canto onwards. Shakshite tu antare prapte prak sarge kala vidrute yaha sasarja praja ishta sadaksho daiva chodita. Being chosen by Brahma, Daksha will become empowered in the sixth Manvantara and they will populate these 10 lokas by variety of living entities. So this is connection from the previous cantos to the future cantos. So keeping in mind, we should move on to the next discussion. Since Chakshusha was in the line of Uttanapada, in the line of Dhruva as described in SB 4:13-15, it should be understood that Swayambhuva's descendants reigned until that time. The Chakshusha Manu, the sixth Manu, is the one of the descendant of Dhruva Maharaj. So in that sense, the descendants of Swayambhu Manu ruled starting from Swayambhu Manvantara all the way up to Chakshusha Manvantara. That is the kind of glorious dynasty of Swayambhu Manu. Yeah. Anyway, any questions till now? You are able to follow the context, what is being said?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Other devotees?
Yes, Prabhuji, following.
Yes, Prabhuji.
But Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Actually, as a sadhaka, Prabhuji, when we are in that state, we can't remain that devotional service state. So we maybe fell in Maya or something else. So Priyavrata is a great devotee, but so he can survive. But how can we, Prabhuji? Sometimes in a preaching mission, we have preaching mission. Sometimes we went to some places where Maya is very high. So how can we protect ourselves?
That's why Canto 5 says that never go alone. Always go with the devotees. Always stay in the company of devotees. They will be protecting us. Bharat Maharaj went alone. That's why he was kind of deviated. That was one of the lessons we understand from Srila Prabhupada's purports there.
Okay.
Never be alone.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Please read the translation of text number 8. Anyone?
Yeah. As Lord Brahma descended on his carrier, the great swan, all the residents of planets named Siddhaloka, Gandharvaloka, Sadhyaloka, and Charanaloka, as well as great sages and demigods flying in their different airplanes, assembled within the canopy of the sky to receive Lord Brahma and worship him. As he received respect and adoration from the residents of various planets, Lord Brahma appeared just like the full moon surrounded by illuminating stars. Lord Brahma's great swan then arrived at the border of Gandhamadana hill and approached Prince Priyavrata, who was sitting there.
So it is because since Brahma is like the first citizen of the entire universe, when he is coming, rest all will accompany. The same thing is mentioned here. As he was coming down from Satyaloka on the way, seeing Brahma going, everyone accompanied him. So that is why we have to understand. Like the moon in the sky, Brahma worshipped on the way by the chief devatas, riding on fleets of aeroplanes, and praised by groups of Siddhas, Gandharvas, Sadhyas, Charanas, and sages, approached Gandhamadana hill, lighting it up as he came close. So all these wonderful personalities on the way joined Brahma. So in that way. This verse describes Lord Brahma's spectacular appearance on earth. He was worshipped by chief devatas who had fleets of airplanes. All these personalities followed Brahma in their respective airplanes. So Brahma traveled on swan carrier, others followed in their respective aerial carriers. So in that way. Then he was received by Narada, Priyavrata, and Swayambhu Manu. That is mentioned in the next verse. Yes, please read.
Lord Brahma, the father of Narada Muni, is the supreme person within this universe. As soon as Narada saw the great swan, he could understand that Lord Brahma had arrived. Therefore, he immediately stood up along with Swayambhu Manu and his son Priyavrata, whom Narada was instructing. Then they folded their hands and began to worship Lord Brahma with great respect.
Narada, realizing that it was Brahma, his father, by seeing his swan carrier, immediately stood up and with folded hands approached him with articles of worship along with Priyavrata and Swayambhumanu. As they were coming near, from far only Narada Muni spotted, oh, swan carrier is coming, matlab, my father is coming. Then immediately got up and brought little, whatever worshipable paraphernalia and then received him. Narada recognized him by the swan carrier. Yeah, 10th verse.
My dear King Parikshit, because Lord Brahma had finally descended from Satyaloka to Bhuloka, Narad Muni, Prince Priyavrata, and Swayambhu Manu came forward to offer him objects of worship and to praise him in highly qualified language. According to Vedic etiquette, at that time, Lord Brahma, the original person of this universe, felt compassion for Priyavrata and looking upon him with a smiling face, spoke to him as follows.
O King Parikshit, after Narada, Manu, and Priyavrata presented offerings, Lord Brahma, whose glorious appearance of affection Lord Brahma, whose glorious appearance of affection for the progeny is glorified constantly by the Vedas, looking at Priyavrata with mercy and a smile, spoke. So now, after receiving their welcome, after receiving their honor and worship, and now Narada Muni began to respond. So, with slight smile, he began to speak. It should be understood that Narada had been giving instructions to Priyavrata at that time, and Manu had come to bring Priyavrata home. And matlab, class is going on. Narada and Priyavrata. Then Swayambhu Manu came, and Swayambhu Manu was talking to Priyavrata, and Narada Muni was sitting nearby, observing what's happening, because he does not want to interfere in between father and son. And then suddenly Brahmaji came, and Narada Muni went to Brahma, following Narada Muni. Uttanapada and Swayambhu Manu and Priyavrata also went to receive Brahma. Thus, Lord Brahma, who was presented offerings by Narada, Manu, and Priyavrata, who was glorious for having descended to show affection to his progeny. Brahma's children were Swayambhu Manu and Narada, both of them were his children only. And Priyavrata is Swayambhu Manu's son and Narada's disciple. They are very closely connected to him. So, having descended to show affection to his progeny, described profusely by worship of the Vedas, then spoke to Priyavrata. Then he responded to Priyavrata. Now Priyavrata is the one who is supposed to be instructed. Brahma had a merciful glance. So most of the things they are not speaking to each other. Just by looking at each other, they are conveying their intentions. So just by glancing at Priyavrata, Brahmaji is conveying his intention. I have interrupted his bhakti, jnana, and vairagya. But even in household life, may his bhakti should increase. Thus, he looked at his grandson with a smile. Because Brahma knows, if I say, he will not say no. So in that way, he has to come home. But by the way, I will be interrupting his day-to-day sadhana of bhakti, jnana, vairagya and all. But in spite of entering into household life, his bhakti should increase. That was his thought. Because he will be ordering my request, he will be following my request. So even though apparently externally it may appears to be that these things are interrupted, but his bhakti surrender to Lord should increase more and more. It should not be decreased. To refute the kingdom is your stubbornness. So he was still looking at Priyavrata. When your father is asking to come home and become the king, you are refusing it. That is your stubbornness. But I will make you rule the kingdom. That is my stubbornness. I have come here to convince you to come home and become the ruler. That is my stubbornness. I will see whose stubbornness will prevail. You have your own arguments. I have my own arguments. Let us see who will win. Like that, before speaking any word, Brahmaji is slightly looking, glancing at Priyavrata and slightly smiling. हम देखते हैं कौन जीतेगा हम दोनों में. So like that. Now, Brahmaji will speak to Priyavrata and convince Priyavrata. Let us see what Brahma says. So, please read the translation.
Prabhuji, I have one question.
Yes, Mataji.
Can I ask?
Ah,
Yes, Prabhuji, how is the Manvantara system is working? It appears to me as a contrast to what
your voice gone. We could not follow what you are asking. Keep the microphone close by and speak, Mataji.
audible?
Ah, yes,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Perfect. Mm.
Prabhuji, am I audible?
Yes, Mataji. Please go ahead.
Yeah. This Manvantara system, Prabhuji, appears to be in contrast with the what Shri Krishna has said in the Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvarnya Maya Srushtam Guna Karma Vibhagasha. Now this Priyavat Maharaj is into all bhakti and say Vanaprastha or I don't know, sannyas or not. But he's into that. His guna and karma are for the bhakti, not for ruling. क्षत्रिय मेंटालिटी नहीं है उनमें, तो उनको क्यों ऐसे करने को बोल रहे हैं?
How are you saying that he does not have Kshatriya mentality?
Because उनको इच्छा नहीं थी, इसलिए तो उत्तानपाद महाराज को बिठाया ना.
युधिष्ठिर महाराज को भी इच्छा नहीं था. उनको भी कभी मन में राजा बनने का इच्छा नहीं था.
Okay.
He was never willing to fight only. He was happy to stay back in the forest only. See, that is.
मतलब अगर उनको इच्छा नहीं है तो भी मतलब युधिष्ठिर महाराज तो still he fought ना प्रभु जी. He fought and he मतलब had that all that ट्रेनिंग तो उनको मिला, इनको भी मिला होगा, लेकिन उनका अभी पूरा उन्होंने विरक्ति के तरफ गए थे ना, वैराग्य उन्होंने अपना लिया था.
वही है ना, आप महाभारत पढ़ेगा तो वही पता चलेगा. He did see when you say इच्छा, what do you mean by इच्छा? He did not have any इच्छा. मतलब क्या? इच्छा for what?
इच्छा टू रूल, इच्छा टू एंजॉय हाउसहोल्ड लाइफ.
वो तो है ही नहीं. That is anyway not there with Yudhishthira Maharaj also. That was anyway not there with Lord Brahma. That was anyway not there with Priyavrata also.
Okay.
That person is the suitable candidate for king rule, to be the king. A person does not have any personal motives is the perfect candidate for the king. One who want to become the king, who want to rule over the kingdom, he the sure shot fellow to exploit the entire country, all countrymen.
Okay. Okay, Prabhuji.
One who does not have any personal ambitions, but there is only one ambition. Let all my citizens go back home, back to Godhead. If that desire is there, he is the perfect person to be the ruler.
Yes. Okay. Got it, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Because he himself want to go back home, back to Godhead. If he become the ruler, he will make sure that everyone will go back home, back to Godhead. He does not allow anybody to stay back. Yes or no?
Yes, Prabhuji. Rajarshi.
That's all. As simple as that.
Okay, Prabhuji. Got it. Thank you so much.
Yudhishthir Maharaj, after all his children were died, not only through Draupadi, through other wives, all the children were died. Why would he sit on the throne? Forget about him. Okay, he's a man, he's like little bit renounced, fine. Why would Draupadi sit on the throne as Maharani? After all children were gone, her father gone, her brothers gone, her two brothers, father, everyone gone. Why would she continue as the Patrani and rule for 36 years, not one day, 2 day? Why?
Mhm.
Because Lord Krishna said so. Just for pleasing Lord Krishna, they continued as rulers. The moment they learnt Lord Krishna departed, they also departed immediately. Personally, they don't have any ambitions. Personally, they don't have any personal motive or desire. That does not mean that they did not do their duty properly. I just simply sat, not doing anything. No, they did 1000% right. Whatever is supposed to be done.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
that
Prabhuji.
is, and his rule was said to be better than Satya Yuga. Even though it is fag end of Dwapara Yuga, those 36 years were better than Satya Yuga.
Yes, yes.
That's all. As simple.
Okay, Prabhuji. Got it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Someone please read the translation.
Lord Brahma, the Supreme Person within this universe, said, My dear Priyavrata, kindly hear attentively what I shall say to you. Do not be jealous of Supreme Lord, who is beyond our experimental measurement. All of us, including Lord Shiva, your father, and the great sage Maharshi Narada, must carry out the order of the Supreme. We cannot deviate from his order. Hare Krishna.
Dear Brahma, my dear Brahma is saying, Dear son, dear Priyavrata, please reflect on this. I speak the truth. You should not hate the Lord, who is beyond estimation. I, Brahma, Lord Shiva, Manu, and Narada, your guru, helplessly follow his order. So Brahma is going to say that this is Lord's desire that you should become the king. Then Priyavrata might say that, oh, if Lord's desire है तो Lord स्वयं भगवान खुद आके राजा बनने, मुझे क्यों बनाने का, मुझे इधर ही अच्छा लग रहा है, मैं इधर ही कंटिन्यू करता हूँ. Like that he would say, and saying that, I mean, sometimes how can I say? I don't want to say, but I want to say. So one may one may develop grudging against the Supreme Lord. But Brahma in the beginning only telling that don't become envious of the Lord. Don't hate the Lord. That Lord is pushing you or forcing you to do this. No. All of us, myself, Lord Shiva, your father Swayambhu Manu, your teacher Narada, whatever we are doing, all this we are doing only by the order of the Lord. Same way, it's Lord's order that you should become the king. Like that Brahma is going to tell. Do not hate me, thinking that my words fixed on active life are intolerable to you. I am also dependent on your Lord. I'll speak about what he wants you to do. Don't think that whatever I'm saying is my own personal motive. No. You want to meditate on the Lord? That Lord upon whom you are meditating had sent me to tell you these things. It is your Lord's desire, not my desire. Like that Brahmaji is saying. Consider this with your intelligence. O son, this implies I am not your enemy who will make you suffer. I speak the truth. I am not deceiving you. I speak as Brahma. Of course, this is Lord is speaking. So consider this with your intelligence, O son, which implies I am not your enemy who will make you suffer. I speak the truth. I am not deceiving you. I speak as Brahma. I am speaking through Brahma. And I am not to be taken as a person without authority, like your father. So, like, you may dismiss your father. No, I don't want to like that. But you cannot say to that to me because I am the creator, I am the maintainer. So So you may say that your father may not know what is good for me, but can you say that what is not? I don't know that what is good for you. Like that, Lord is asking Priyavrata. Then Brahma says, I, Shiva, and your father Manu, and Narada, your guru, carry out the order of the same Lord. Whatever he instructs in the heart of any one of us, we must follow. By his order, I am engaging you in ruling the kingdom. Do not find fault with your Lord, thinking that the Lord whom you worship with all your heart had cast you into the ocean of samsara. Do not hate him. He quickly delivers one who it quickly delivers one whom he engages in actions in this world, and he does not quickly deliver another who is in the forest. No one knows his activity. You may think that if I continue in the forest only, I'll come back too quickly. That is not sure. The Lord might deliver a householder who is in the city. He may come back to God quickly than the renounced person in the forest. But what will decide that? Lord's desire. So in that way, it's Lord's desire that you should become the ruler, and Lord will take the responsibility of come back to God quickly. Don't worry. So like that, Lord Brahma is trying to convince Priyavrata. Then he speaks some philosophy. That was like initial premise, and now philosophically tries to convince him. Because Priyavrata is not ordinary person. He is expert in jnana, vairagya, and bhakti. So thoda bhakti de diya. Now jnana and vairagya also will give. न तस्य कच्चित् तपसा विद्यया वा
न तस्य कश्चित् तपसा विद्यया वा
न योगवीर्येण मनीषया वा
न योगवीर्येण मनीषया वा
नैवार्थधर्मै परता स्वतो वा
नैवार्थधर्मै परतस्वतो वा
कृतं विहन्तुं तनुभृद्विभूयात्.
कृतं विहन्तुं तनुभृद्विभूयात्. One cannot avoid the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not by the strength of severe austerities and exalted Vedic education, or the power of mystic yoga, physical prowess, or intellectual activities, nor can one use his power or religion, his material opulence, or any other means, either by himself or with the help of others, to defy the orders of the spiritual master, spiritual Lord, the Supreme Lord. That is not possible for any living being from Brahma down to the ant.
So here, philosophically, Brahmaji is saying that one cannot avoid the order of the Lord by one's power of austerity, knowledge, or yoga, by independent intelligence, by wealth, by dharma, or by relying on other strength or one's own. Yes, you can deny the order of your father, your guru, or anybody, even including my order also you can deny, but you cannot deny the order of Supreme Lord. One should not show one's strength of austerity, knowledge, or yoga in order to protect one's stubbornness. One cannot avoid what is decided by the Lord by performing austerity or other actions. But just as the Lord makes me take up the kingdom through you, he makes me renounce through Narada. Which one do I decide? Then you are saying that this is Lord's order. We should not deny. Then Priyavrata says, yes, you are saying that I should become the king is the Lord's order. But my Guru Narada Muni is saying that being renounced is Lord's order. So which of the two orders I should follow? By thinking in this way, you desire to conquer me, the Lord, by your intelligence. So Brahma only saying that, oh, you may think like this. With दोनों order है किसको पालन करेगा? You logically you may put forward a counter argument by which you are showing your intelligence. But considering both of these orders of the Lord, while ruling the kingdom at the same time, you can practice renunciation by being unattached to those duties. Do not try to rule by making someone a substitute representative by giving him sufficient wealth. And do not desire to cross these difficulties by many pious acts or taking shelter of own or other strength. So Brahmaji is telling that, okay, right now you may say, the answer is, even while ruling the kingdom, you can practice detachment. But while practicing detachment, you cannot rule the kingdom. In ruling the kingdom, both are included. But just by being in the forest, both are not included. Then Priyavrata would say that, no, I will stay in the forest only. On my behalf, I will employ someone to rule the kingdom. I'll pay him good lump sum salary. That was not Lord's intention. Lord does not want some representative. If that is the case, why would we come to you? We only could have employed someone else. So, like that, all these things are indicated. And then he might say that, okay, you may make me king. Then I will donate the kingdom to somebody else. I will give it in charity and come back to forest. Lord does not want that also. Lord wants you to continue the kingdom for good amount of time, not for 1 day, 2 day. So like that, Brahmaji directly tell everything. He clearly telling, Lord does not want you to become the king as Apadharma king, not for 1 week, 1 month, not like that. Good amount of time should rule, which is beneficial for the people in general. So in that way. Later on we see, what do you mean by that good amount of time? What was the desire of the Lord? How long Lord wants him to continue the king? That we will see later on. Bhavaya nashaya cha karma kartum
भवाय नाशाय च कर्म कर्तुम्
शोकाय मोहाय सदा भयाय
शोकाय मोहाय सदा भयाय
सुखाय दुःखाय च देहयोगम्
सुखाय दुःखाय च देहयोगम्
अव्यक्तदिष्टम् जनतांगदत्ते.
अव्यक्तदिष्टं जनतांगधत्ते. Translation: My dear Priyavrata, by the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all living entities accept different types of bodies for birth and death, activity, lamentation, illusion, fear of future dangers, and happiness and distress. Hare Krishna.
O Priyavrata, all jivas always attain bodies as directed by the Lord to perform actions for repeated birth and death, and for lamentation, illusion, fear, happiness, and distress. Now, philosophically, is continuing. All living entities always attain bodies as directed by the Lord to perform activities for repeated birth and death, and for lamentation, illusion, fear, happiness, and distress. We get a different body in order to go through all these experiences. One should not lament about this, because all embodied souls dependent on the Lord tolerate all auspicious and inauspicious conditions by their own desire or other desires. So you may say that, actually I'm very happily situated here. Why are you throwing me into the river of miseries? Then Brahma said that, don't worry, you are not the only one person going through all the river of miseries. That is the nature of this material world. Everyone has to go through it. So like that, he is trying to pacify him. All jivas always accept a combination with bodies given by the Lord for performing actions for repeated birth and death. They accept bodies earned by their actions only by the order of the Lord, just as the citizens accept certain results, such as agricultural land or prison, according to their actions only by the order of the king. So here he gives an example that all jivas always accept a combination with the bodies given by the Lord for performing actions for repeated birth and death. They accept bodies end by their actions only by the order of the Lord, just as the citizens accept certain results, such as agricultural land or prison, according to their actions only by the order of the king. If the citizens are proper, bona fide, and abiding the rules of the country, kingdom, they will continue as a farmer. If they are going against the rules of the kingdom, they are put behind the bars. Who will decide if the citizen will continue as a agriculturer, or the citizen will continue as a prisoner? King only. Same way, it is the Lord's desire that someone become the ruler, someone become the citizen, someone become Brahmana, someone become Kshatriya. It is Lord's desire. So like that. The king alone can do otherwise. Therefore, because of him, you should obey. So in that way. King is almighty. Like that, Lord is also almighty. His decision cannot be questioned in that way. यद्वाचितन्त्यां गुणकर्मधामभिः
यद्वाचितत्यां गुणकर्मधामभिः
सुदुस्तरैर्वस्तवयं सुयोजिता
पुस्तरैर्वत्स्य वयं सुयोजितः
सर्वे वहामो बलिमीश्वराय
सर्वे वहामो बलिमीश्वराय
प्रोता न शिवा द्विपदे चतुष्पदः
प्रोता न शिवाधिपदे चतुष्पदः. Translation: My dear boy, all of us are bound by Vedic injunction to the division of Varnashrama according to our qualities and work. These divisions are difficult to avoid because they are scientifically arranged. We must therefore carry out our duties of Varnashrama Dharma like bulls obliged to move according to the direction of driver pulling on the ropes knotted to their nose. Hare Krishna.
O child, all of us must obey the orders of the Lord, by whose words we are bound tightly to actions and designations arising from the guna, just as oxen bound by the nose must carry the burden, bullock cart. So, in that way, just as the jivas are dependent on the Lord for accepting bodies, they are dependent for doing activities. It is the Lord who ordens. You are a Brahmana, you do Brahmanical activities. You are a Kshatriya, you do Kshatriya activities. You are Vaishya, you do Vaishya activities. Chaturvarnam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasha. So once the designation is given, for one's entire life, one need to continue those duties. So in that way. Dear child, we are all bound firmly to the actions according to the gunas and to designations such as Brahmana by the rope of injunction of the Lord. To that Lord, we offer tribute. We perform actions as His order. We perform all the activities as an offering to Him. So, in that way. An example is given. We are like oxen who bound up their noses in carrying loads given by humans and moving about without independence, receive punishment. So, in that way, the bullocks are there to carry bullock carts. Otherwise, they'll be punished. So, like that. So all of us are given some name. I was given the name title as Brahma, so I have to do my service. Your father given the title Manu, so he has to do his service. And your teacher, he was given a title Guru, he has to do his service. The title will indicate what are our duties, so we should do it. We cannot get away from that. So in that way. Yes.
I have one question.
हाँ माताजी.
प्रभु जी, यहाँ पे जैसे उन्होंने कहा कि सबको अपने अपनी ड्यूटीज करनी पड़ती है, ये रूल अपने पे भी एप्लीकेबल है क्या?
हाँ, obviously. If somebody had written an entrance exam and qualified and appointed by the government as the school teacher, do they need to do the duties as school teacher or not?
Yeah.
If somebody forget about all those things at the very basic level, after marriage, the two people are designated as wife and husband. Do they supposed to do their duties as wife and husband or not?
Yes.
After they beget children, they are called as mother and father. Do they supposed to do their duties as mother and father or not?
Yes.
That's all. You are given a
Okay.
title, you are bound to do the duty.
तो यहाँ पे मैं वही पूछ ब्रह्मा जी जो है, इसमें और दो क्वेश्चन है। ब्रह्मा जी वो प्रियव्रत महाराज को राज्य करने के लिए बोल रहे, क्योंकि वो स्वयं मनु के पुत्र थे।
हाँ
तो वैसे हमारे लिए भी एज ए जीवेर स्वरूप कृष्ण नित्यदास हमको भगवान की सेवा करनी चाहिए। बट
वो तो इधर क्यों आया?
वी
Then
आर
उधर
वी
जाओ ना।
आर वी आर नॉट वी आर नॉट। हाँ,
If you want to do Krishna Das, go to spiritual world. Don't stay here. When you are here, we are bound by worldly duties.
अच्छा,
When you are here, we have to do duties here.
ओके,
See, we have taken birth and we have been given 100 years of lifespan. So भागवतम जाएंगे 100 years के बाद, बट जब 100 years इधर है तो इधर कुछ responsibility तो रहेगा ना, उसको तो करना पड़ेगा।
तो along with that we have to try to go to spiritual, means bhakti is a extra work। उसके साथ साथ हमको ये भी करना ही है, जो हमारा जो कर्तव्य हमको करना है, बट साथ में भक्ति भी करना है। राइट,
भक्ति सहित सेवा करना चाहिए थ्रू आवर लाइफ।
तो ये फिर ये कर्म मार्ग, सकाम कर्म, कर्म मार्ग, इतना सारा भगवान ने क्यों बताया? इसे सिंपल सो तो फिर
because they are all required na. Karma means, what do you think? What is the meaning of karma?
action done by
For
the
what? अभी हमको रोज खाना तो खाना पड़ेगा ना, सुबह ब्रेकफास्ट, दोपहर को लंच, शाम को डिनर। वो कहाँ से आएगा? हमारा कर्म से आएगा। कर्म नहीं करेगा तो वो खाना कैसे मिलेगा? कर्म योगा is to maintain the body. Jnana yoga is to maintain the subtle body. Bhakti yoga is to maintain the spirit soul. All these three should be taken care perfectly. If somebody want to perform Jnana yoga, they cannot stay in the home in the city. You go to forest, whatever you get on its own accord, some fruits and roots, you subsist on that and follow Jnana yoga, performing tapasya. If you receive something, eat. If you don't receive, don't eat. Fast. That is Jnana yoga. In the case of Karma yoga, आप कुछ मेहनत करो, कमाओ, and live in a comfortable home with all the comforts and lead your life. That is Karma yoga. When it becomes yoga, doing these duties as an offering to Supreme Lord, it becomes yoga. If you simply do the duties for your survival, that is called karma.
yes sir, now clear.
It is like that. It is not that these are all some foreign things. According to our situation, these are all named like that.
हो गया, क्लियर हो गया। थैंक यू।
For a devotee, we cannot say we are Ananya Bhakta. We are actually Karma Mishra Bhaktas. We are doing Karma Yoga also, as well as we are doing Bhakti also. We are doing Karma Yoga so that our Bhakti will go on properly. All of us, many of our people are engineers, some of them are doctors, some of them might be teachers, some of them might be only the housekeepers. It's no problem. That is also karma only. It is, don't think that housekeeping is anywhere less than doing any job outside. Actually, that is much better than doing any job outside. Because at least housekeeping is directly connected to service to the Lord. Because our house itself is a temple.
Yes.
So in that way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other devotees have any question?
Prabhuji, we come across some enthusiastic youths, after attending Prerna or somewhere, and they have desired to join Brahmachari ashram in anywhere in the ISKCON setup. So how can we relate these narrations to the enthusiastic youth? Like it is some practical aspects of this conversation, like because we are hearing here that even after having being king as a Priyavrata, he can perform devotional service, and Brahmaji is encouraging him to renounce the renounced order of life to become king. So how can we guide the neophyte or the serious youth persons, you are who are encouraged or inspired to join brahmacharya ashram? Sorry, I'm asking this question, but you may answer as it
See,
fit.
you better take some other example. This example is not fitting there because here we cannot compare our individual person to personal like Priyavrata. Here the requirement is not simply
Mm-hmm.
about the duty, but the requirement is about being the ruler. So at the
Mm-hmm.
individual level, it is not so much. First of all, we need to explain, understand, help them understand what is Krishna Bhakti. Later on, the ashram thing comes. Prerana lecture
Mm-hmm.
सुन के ब्रह्मचारी बनना है तो that is only that is what you say. It's not like with based on understanding. It's based on a momentary attraction. It will not last long.
Yes, yes.
They need to. We should say that take 1 year, try to study and understand the philosophy, try to see the lifestyle of brahmacharis, try to see the lifestyle of grihasthas, and you take some time to delve and then decide, take a decision. Don't take decision just by seeing that one brahmachari comes in saffron clothes, sits on the vyasasana, everyone ताली बजाते, everyone glorifies, आहा वो बोलते, वो सुन के ब्रह्मचारी नहीं बनना चाहिए.
Correct, correct, correct.
So we should tell them to take time and understand what it is. Then they can take decision.
Yes, yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
ईशाभिसृष्टं हि अवरुन्महेङ्गा
ईशाभिसृष्टं हि अवरमहेङ्गा
दुःखं सुखं वा गुणकर्मसङ्गात्
दुःखं सुखं वा गुणकर्मसङ्गात्
आस्ताय तत्तद्यदनु यदयुङ्क्तनाथस्
आस्ताय यदयुक्तनाथस्
चक्षुष्मतान्धा इव नीयमानः
चक्षुष्मतान्दा इव नीयमाना. My dear Priyavrata, according to our association with different modes of material nature, the Supreme Personality of Godhead gives us our special bodies and the happiness and distress we achieve. One must therefore remain situated as he is, and be conducted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Exactly as a blind man is led by a person who has eyes with which to see.
Oh Priyavrata, accepting with faith whatever the master gives us, like blind men led by a man with sight, we must accept the happiness and distress given by the Lord, since it arises from our actions in the gunas. So he further continues with the philosophical points. Accepting with faith whatever the master gives us, like blind men led by a man with sight, we must accept the happiness and distress given by the Lord, since it arises from our actions in the gunas. So here there is a contrast. Prahlad Maharaj says, Ande yatandir upaguya manas. So a blind man leading another blind man. But Brahma not saying that. We should act, even though we know many things, but we should behave that we don't know anything and we simply follow the Supreme Lord, because Supreme Lord knows what is going to happen in the future. So in that way, we are dependent even in enjoying the results of karma. We receive happiness and distress as given by the Lord. It arises from our attachment to actions connected to the gunas. Whatever the master gives as good or bad results, only according to our good and bad qualities, we should accept. So one may say that, oh, why would Lord want to give me this kingdom? I am very happy. अभी तक मैं अच्छा चल रहा था सब कुछ. Why Lord is unnecessarily changing the course of time? So don't think that Lord only giving it. It is as per your guna and karma. According to your guna and karma, you are supposed to be the ruler, and you are actually diverting from it. अभी तक वेट किया, अभी कम से कम आपको सही रास्ता में लाने के लिए प्रयास कर रहे हैं. So something like that. We should accept this with faith. One should see this as a good quality in the Lord. An example is given. Will the blind man scold the man who with vision, who, while leading him on the right path, takes him on the path full of burning sun instead of on the sandy path because he sees thorns on the sandy path? So there are two options. There is a blind man, there is a man with vision. It is a hot summer. One path, it is full hot summer. Other path, it is there is shadow underneath the trees, but here and there some thorns are there. Which is better? When the blind man is taken by this man with eyes on the thorny path, the thorns are pricking. If this person says that, why are you taking me on this path? Lot of thorns and pricking me here and there, now and again. But the person with the eyes knows that, I mean, these are 1-2 thorns here and there, but there the whole path is like burning sand. This is much tolerable than that. So the man with vision understands why he is taking on this path. The blind man cannot understand. So in that way, the man with sight is the well-wisher of the blind man. The person with faith will praise the Lord. जो उनके ऊपर भरोसा रहेगा, I think he is taking on me on this path. Okay, this path only a small misery, the other path is big misery. If that faith is there, one will never find fault with that Lord. So in that way. Then there is a question. But this applies to actions of an ignorant person, not to a jnani who knows Atma, who is above the knots of karma. The verse answer. जो आप बोल रहे हैं वो ठीक है, वो अंधकार मतलब जो अज्ञानी व्यक्ति के लिए वो सब कुछ ठीक है, बट मैं तो ऑलरेडी आत्मज्ञान पहुंच गया, मेरा ब्रह्म तत्व को पहुंच गया ऑलरेडी, ब्रह्मभूत प्लेटफॉर्म पहुंच गया, मैं समाधि तक पहुंच गया. So why I should, even in spite of attaining samadhi, why I should go back and rule the kingdom? Is it really necessary for me? I am about to attain liberation now, very soon. Then Brahmaji says, Mukto pitavad bibruya swadeham
मुक्तोऽपि
विब्रयात् स्वदेहम्
arabdamasan abhimana shunyah
आराध आसन् अभिमानशून्यः
यतानुभूतं प्रतियात निद्रः
यथानुभूतं प्रतियात निद्रः
किं त्वन्यदेहाय गुणान्न वृङ्क्ते
किन्त्वा अन्यदेहाय गुणान् न वृत्ते. Even if one is liberated, he nevertheless accepts the body he has received according to his past karma. Without misconceptions, however, he regrets his enjoyment and suffering due to that karma, the way an awakened person regards a dream he had while sleeping. He thus remains steadfast and never works to achieve another material body under the influence of three modes of material nature.
Now Brahma says, as long as the prarabdha karmas remain, even the liberated person maintains his body obtained by karma and enjoys without false identity. Just as a person who awakes from a dream, remembers what he experienced in the dream without false identity, but he does not accept the gunas, actions, and desires for attaining another body. It's like Priyavrata is in one sense is a Jivan Mukta. He already attained Brahmabhuta Platana Samadhi, he is already self-realized, he is a Jivan Mukta. But according to his Prarabdha Karma, his time for liberation is not yet attained. Still, according to his Prarabdha Karma, this body has some more lifespan pending. So even if he want to attain liberation, he cannot attain. Because Prarabdha Karma says you have to stay some more time. While being there in that Jivan Mukta platform, one simply maintains the body by whatever is naturally available if he lives in the forest. He cannot neglect the body. He has to maintain. Even though one is Jiva Mukta, he has to maintain. Whatever comes on its own accord. Same way, when we say whatever comes on its own accord, with that one need to maintain the body and being renounced, continue to practice your sadhana. Same way, here you got a big bhiksha. You got the entire kingdom as a bhiksha. You got some seva as a bhiksha. Accept it. In the core of the heart, you maintain the detachment, but externally, you do the needful in relation to the kingdom without any false identity that I am the ruler, I am the enjoyer, I am this, I am that. Don't have that kind of false identity. This is my seva. Just do it as a seva without any identification with that seva. Thus, such a person does not accept the gunas, actions, and desires for attaining another body. He does not have any material activities, material qualities, and material aspirations, material ambitions, which are the cause of future birth. So, like that. As long as prarabdha karmas continue, the liberated person maintains his body. Just as a person remembers what he experienced in a dream without false identity when he wakes up, but because of desires for enjoyment, he must take another birth. So now, in the night, we get a dream, but in the daytime, we speak about the same dream to everyone. We say that, I got a dream. In that dream, I became a Karodpati. I have a big vehicle and Rolls Royce, something I was driving, and that I was going at 200 kilometers per hour, something like that. All one can say. उस दिन के लिए बोलेंगे, but one will not say that I am Karodpati, I am the owner of Rolls Royce. I want to, I travel at a speed of 200 kilometers. If one really want to become a Karodpati, want to become the owner of Rolls Royce and drive at 200 kilometers per hour, one need to work hard. और वो नहीं होगा तो, फुलफिल नहीं होगा तो और एक जन्म लेना पड़ेगा. तो डिजायर को, इच्छा को पूरा करना है तो दूसरा जन्म लेना पड़ेगा. If one only simply speaks it as a dream without identifying with the dream subjects, then it's okay. Like that, you become the king and act like a dreamer. Just like in the dream, a person has become king and ruling the kingdom. Like that, you rule the kingdom. Don't have any attachment to it. Accept the seva as if you are going through a dream. So like that. That Lord Brahma says. But he does not accept the gunas, actions, or desires for attaining another body. Do it, but do not identify with it. Like that, Brahmaji indirectly indicating. Just like we speak about the dream, but we do not identify with the dream. If we identify, we are done. We are forced to take another birth. Like that. You are able to follow this, what is being mentioned in this verse? Even though one is already Jivan Mukta, one should continue to maintain one's body till the day of liberation comes. That is one point. For Priyavrata specifically, just like you get a dream and next day you talk about the dream, but you don't identify with the dream things. Same way, now you got the kingdom, rule the kingdom without any attachment, without any identity, as if you are going through a dream. Like that he's saying. Yes. Hare Krishna. Any reflections from anybody? You understood?
No, Prabhuji. Yeah, Prabhuji.
Understood, yes, Prabhu.
What we have understood?
प्रभु जी हाँ एक्चुअली यहाँ पे एक पॉइंट है प्रभु जी, हम उनके ऐसा हो सकता है कि उनका लिबरेशन का समय बहुत ही नज़दीक आ गया है, मतलब आप जैसे बोल रहे हैं कि वो बहुत ही कम अवधि है, बट वो राज्य करना तो बहुत लंबे समय तक करना होगा, तो बहुत ज़्यादा समय के लिए वो एंटेंगल रहना पड़ेगा, तो उसके लिए तो वो रिफ्यूज कर रहा होगा.
वो तो रिफ्यूज तो कर ही रहेंगे, But how will you decide that mukti is nearby nikat hai? Who will decide that? Who is the giver of mukti?
Only Lord.
Lord only.
हमारे वही लाड ओनली बता रहे राजा बनो करके.
Then Prabhuji, in Arjuna's Prabhuji, actually भगवान उनको फ्री विल दिया, ठीक है, वो क्या सही है क्या गलत है मैं बता दिया हूँ, भगवत गीता दिया हूँ, यथेच्छसि तथा कुरु, जैसे चाहिए वैसा करो. बट यहाँ पर इम्पोज
No,
किया.
no, 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 that is गलत अंडरस्टैंडिंग. वो पूरा गलत है. I told you two paths. One is the regular traditional yoga path, other one is bhakti path. ये दोनों में से किसी को चयन हो. Lord is not telling आपको मैं जो बोला आपको जो करना कर, ऐसा नहीं. From whatever I have told, select one. इसके अलावा कुछ है ही नहीं दूसरा तीसरा करने का भौतिक जगत में. ये दोनों में से एक को चयनो. ये दोनों में से किसको चयनने का स्वतंत्रता आपके पास है. इन दोनों को छोड़कर तीसरा चुनाव करेंगे तो हरे कृष्णा. Lord will not take responsibility. That is the meaning of that verse. Ete chetata kuru. Vimrushya etad asheshena. Whatever I have spoken to you till now, starting from the second chapter, first verse, second verse से लेकर अभी तक मैं जो बोला इसके ऊपर थोड़ा सा रिफ्लेक्ट करो. और इसमें दो विभाग है, ये दोनों में से कोई किसी को चयन लो. तीसरा है ही नहीं.
Yes, sir.
हाँ, बाहर का भगवद गीता का फिलॉसफी मत लाइए अंदर. Okay, now this verse is very much important for all of us. What do we understand from this verse? Very difficult to follow, but it is very good for us.
प्रभु जी, इसका अर्थ है कि जब तक हम भगवत धाम नहीं जाते हैं तब तक वी हैव टू फॉलो अवर पाथ. जैसे हमारे गुरु महाराज लोग हैं एंड आचार्य गण है, जब तक वो इस भौतिक जगत में है दे आर डूइंग देयर ड्यूटी व्हाट इज असाइन्ड बाय द लॉर्ड. So without any expectation. ठीक है, because there are so many obstacles, so we can understand from this shloka that only, na?
पता नहीं, how are you connecting that to this shloka? I am not sure.
योग यहाँ पे कैसे कि आप अपना जो आपको जो आपको राजा बनना है, आपको राजा बनना पड़ेगा. बट दो यू आर लिबरेटेड यू हैव टू डू योर प्रिस्क्राइब्ड ड्यूटीज. यही है ना इसका अर्थ तो ये श्लोक का.
वो ठीक है, और उनका छोड़ दो. हमारा क्या है, हमारे लिए क्या है इसमें? Any other devotees?
प्रभु जी,
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी.
Continue
the guidelines of the seniors. To follow the guidelines of the seniors.
Can I say something, Prabhuji?
वो कहाँ पे दिया गया? श्लोका में कहाँ पे कहना गया था? You tell something based on the shloka. Take the reference from the shloka, not on your on our own.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी.
हाँ, जल्दी जल्दी.
हरे कृष्णा. Actually, according to that, unless somebody has their prarabdha karma will be completed, even he become liberated, he should continue. Just like there are.
Oh, he नहीं. I'm asking about us. हमको क्या करना है?
So whatever the means there means fault and whatever the bad karma coming to us, we have to tolerate and we have to proceed.
Where is that mentioned in the where is that mentioned in the shloka? The good karma, bad karma, tolerate, miseries. वो कहाँ पे है श्लोका में?
In this shloka?
हाँ.
Actually, they are telling like this till because they have to whatever the means Jivan Mukta have to tolerate till their they become liberated.
Not they again. They. We are not yet liberated. We. What about us?
Yeah.
Okay. Next. Other devotees, anybody want to try? No need to get into so many things. One simple point I am just looking at. It is very much important. We always discuss about it also, but we fail to follow. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Like even in
Ah.
our lifetime, current lifetime, whatever activities that we are doing, it we can consider that our whatever we are going through, good or bad, or whatever the activities we continue doing, considering that it is like a dream state, and not identify with that situation.
That is what I am trying to say. For Priyavrata, he was told to become the king and do it as a dream. We have already become something. Some of us are already husband, some of us are already wife, some of them are already father, mother, some of us maybe some employer, here employee, this, that. So many upadhis we have. We need to do all our duties without identifying with it. We should do them as if they are dream activities. Then we will not take birth again in this material world. If we identify with them, we'll take birth once again. That's all. This is philosophy. Nothing else. Identity is equal to repeated birth. Next birth. No identity, no birth.
तो ये without identity काम कैसे कर सकते?
That is the art of work. Yogaha karmashu kaushalam. That is the art of working. Without identifying, one should do the work. Now reflect how to do it. That is bhakti is all about. Bhakti means training ourselves in this aspect. Without identifying it, doing it. That is the meaning of Gopi Bartur Padar Kamayor Das Dasanu Das 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 Das. उसमें आइडेंटिटी क्या है? It is I5 philosophy, very difficult to follow, but if we are able to follow, then we are done. We are on the way back home, back to Godhead. All our bhakti philosophy culminates in this one point. That's all, nothing else. Of course, this is the core principle of Jnana Yoga, but bhakti also ultimately culminates in this. Yes, if you remember, in one of the chapters we discussed about elaborate dream thing we elaborately discussed. That verse comes 5 times in the entire Bhagavatam. Artho hi avidyamanepi samsrutirna nivartate. Swapnadrashtur ivanjasa. Those who lead their life like a dream, they are not bound in this material, they only attain liberation. Artho hi avidyamanepi samsrutirna nivartate. When we think that okay, this is the reality, अभी यही है, इसके लिए सब कुछ, then okay, repeated birth. So in that way, that's why Lord Krishna says karmanye eva adhikarasya ma phala kadachana ma karma phala heturbur mate sango swakarmani. That verse, this verse, they are both of them same. It is very tough, but that is the only way. Yes, you got it, Hare Krishna.
Yes, Guruji.
I'm sorry, I'm taking a little more time because this is very important principle. That's why.
यानी
Hare Krishna,
कर्म की
Prabhuji.
Yes, yes, Mataji.
Class is awakening, na?
Ah,
Awakened, na? Means it is not a dream, part of our dream, na? This life.
no, it is not a dream, but we should treat it like a dream. When we become a millionaire in the dream, do we still continue to say that I am a millionaire after waking up?
Oh no, but people who are in so much tamoguna like me, they will say कि Bhagavatam class में हो गया अभी हो गया. But Bhagavatam
No,
class
no.
is like
See,
fully awakening, na. It should be taken as.
That's what.
No?
See, unless until we listen, unless until we study and discuss, we cannot understand. That is required. So we should learn, study, but ultimately this should be our goal. We should come to this point, this
Yes,
kind of
Prabhuji.
understanding of
Prabhuji,
life.
study,
Yes, Mati.
study, listening, everything is very nice, but when it comes to application, there we falter.
That's why we should listen more and more. The more we listen, it hits harder. So that is true. That's why we are doing Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya. So Bhagavatam without fail, time and again the same philosophy is repeated. Vyasdev also knows, Narada Muni knows. Kali Yuga people cannot understand by listening once. Yata dharmadeyascha muni varyanu kirtita natata vasudevasya. Mahimai anvanita. You are telling that other Puranas also talk about the glories of Vasudeva. भाई एक बार पढ़ के लोगों को मंद बुद्धि लोगों को समझ में नहीं आएगा. उनको बार बार बोलना पड़ेगा. बार बार बोलने पर भी समझ में नहीं आएगा. So इसलिए what was that verse? एतद्धि आतुर चित्तानां मात्रा स्पर्शचया मुहु. The people are only interested in मात्रा स्पर्श इच्छया मुहु. तन्मात्रों के संपर्क में आने का ही इच्छा रहता है मन में, भौतिक बद्ध जीवों में. उस लोगों को भौतिक जगत से तारण करना है तो आपको ये फिलॉसफी को बार बार बोलना पड़ेगा, बार बार उनको याद कराना पड़ेगा. एतद्धि आतुरचित्तानां मात्रा स्पर्शचयामुः भवसिन्धु प्लवो दृष्टा हरिचर्य अनुवर्णनम. You have to continuously, repeatedly glorify again and again, again and again, again and again.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Voice has gone.
Internet gone.
No,
Abhi, now you are able to listen me? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, yes. Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, okay. So
Can hear
लगता है मैं ज्यादा बोल रहा था इसलिए इंटरनेट बंद हो गए. आप खुद फॉलो करते नहीं, कुछ सिर्फ बोल रहे इसलिए वो बंद हो गए. ओके,
तो ये सब
नो
चीजें
प्रॉब्लम.
बहुत सुनते हैं ना, तो इट इज वेरी कंफ्यूजिंग कि हाउ टू रिलेट इन अवर लाइफ. क्योंकि व्हेन वी आर स्टेइंग इन मटेरियल वर्ल्ड एंड वी अप्लाई ऑल दिस, इफ वी ट्राई आल्सो ना प्रभु जी, सो समवेयर और अदर्स ऐसे ऑब्स्टिकल्स आते हैं कि वी आर एकदम थ्रोन आउट हो जाते हैं. तो फिर हाउ टू अप्लाई दिस, कैसे फिर उसको टॉलरेट करना है, दैट इज द क्वेश्चन. हम अपना कार्य कर रहे हैं, जैसे यहाँ पे बताया है कि सपनों में है उपाधि मीन्स डोंट रिलेट विद योर बॉडी एंड एवरीथिंग. बट व्हेन वी आर इन मटेरियल वर्ल्ड, अगर हम कुछ कर भी रहे हैं, वी आर नॉट डिजायर, हमको उनका कुछ फल भी नहीं चाहिए और हमारी ड्यूटी है वैसे हम कर रहे हैं. बट स्टिल सिचुएशन ऐसी आती है कि वी हैव टू रिबेल्ड, क्योंकि ड्रीम में है तो हम उसको रिस्पॉन्स नहीं करते. ड्रीम से उठे, भूल गए, बात खत्म. बट व्हेन इट कम्स टू, दो वी आर सोचेंगे कि ये टेम्पररी है सब है, बट टू टॉलरेट ऑल दिस थिंग्स इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट टास्क प्रभु जी.
Yeah, that is life. That is sadhana. Sadhana means that only. Matra sparshachyamuhu bhavasindhu plavo drushto. No. What was that Bhagavad Gita verse?
शास्त्र कौन थे?
शीतोष्ण दुख दागमा पायिनोनिते ताम तिजक्षस bharata. We need to train. Sadhana means that only. Then only one becomes dhira. Otherwise, Hare Krishna. See, the problem is our problems are all emotional. They are not philosophical problems. Here we are talking a philosophical problem.
Yes.
Emotional problems are a little different. Emotional problems are because of the miscommunication, wrong understanding, and all the expectations, undue expectations. All these things are there. These are still in the material purview only. But the philosophical problem is much bigger than that. We are not able to tackle the emotional, physical problems only. Then what to speak of tackling philosophical problems?
Yes, Vijay.
So that's why yesterday evening we were discussing. Yesterday evening, this was one of the important discussion. In the past, the life was divided into 4 parts. Out of 100 years, first 25 years are brahmacharya, next 25 years grahastha, next 25 years vanaprastha, next 25 years sannyasa. So in brahmacharya we learn what is what, and in grahastha we try to follow and understand and develop wisdom, what it means. And then we try to disentangle from the material bondage by following vanaprastha and sannyasa. There are 50 years exclusively dedicated to get rid of this material bondage. Vanaprastha and sannyasa, 25 years of vanaprastha, 25 years sannyasa. And now that is not there. We are neither following brahmacharya nor vanaprastha nor sannyasa. Only the so-called grahastha we are trying to lead for 100 years. So how will we get detachment?
Yeah.
Organically will not get. We have to get forcefully only. Unless until we live in a detached temperament in the grahastha ashram, we cannot.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm sorry to say these things because one may think that you are brahmachari, you don't know anything what's happening here on the other side. So you may speak so many things. It does not matter whether one is brahmachari, one is grahastha. We are all human beings only. We are all have so-called sentimentals. So it's common for everyone, and all of us need to work for it. For example, the parents, they do two things. One is they raise their children and they also raise their properties, home, vehicle, and other things. The possessions, they have their belongings, they have their things, and also their children. For these two things, they work very hard. So attachment to these two things is very natural, quite natural. And expectation of reciprocation from these two things are also quite natural. And identifying with these two things are also quite natural. We cannot deny these two things. Hey, Mera, we cannot give it up. But if we want to go back home back to Godhead, we have to give it up. So we have to learn the art of how to give it up. We cannot say, I want to possess this also, I want to go back home back to Godhead also. And that does not mean that we have to neglect the responsibilities. Yesterday we were telling that the point is, when we are in the household order, we should put 100% of our energy in rendering our household duties. But then we should take the next ashram, Vanaprastha. There we should 100% gradually disassociate from the previous ashrama. That's why they perform so many severe austerities so that they will go back home back to Godhead. So in that way. Traditional Varna system was like organic, gradual spiritual growth was there. Now things are completely different. Sometimes talking about them also is a big violence. आप बहुत कुछ बोलते हैं, उस समय हुआ होगा, अभी तो क्या प्रैक्टिकल, अभी क्या बताओ, उसको सुन के क्या फायदा? Like that question will come. But I also don't know what is the solution now. I also don't know. But anyway, that is the principle. I'm sorry. The point is, we have to do everything and we should not identify with what we are doing. बस यही प्रिंसिपल है. जो भी कर रहे करना पड़ेगा, but we should never ever say that I am the doer, I am entitled to enjoy the results. That we should not. If we say, we are creating our next birth. The moment we say I am the doer, next birth tick. If we say 2 times, 2 more births. And when we enjoy the fruits of our activities, and next birth is guaranteed, confirmed. पहले तो एटलीस्ट लिस्ट में था नेक्स्ट बर्थ है करके, बट आफ्टर एंजॉइंग द फ्रूट्स नेक्स्ट बर्थ इज कंफर्म्ड. सो इन दैट वे पहले RAC नेक्स्ट कंफर्म टिकट. तो पहले तो कम से कम कैंसिल कर सकते हैं उसको, बाद में तो कैंसिल भी नहीं कर सकते. तो ओके ओके, we'll discuss the next 3 more verses of.
No voice. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Ah.
Yes, now we are able to hear properly.
Though I am dependent on the Lord, if I have my present position in the forest and take up house.
Hare Krishna, no voice.
Prabhuji can't hear you.
Hare Krishna, now you are able to hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Ah, please repeat. Bhayam pramattasya vaneshvapi syad.
भयं प्रमस्य ममशे अपि स्यात्
Yata saste sahasat sapatna.
यथा सहस्ते सहसः सपत्नः
जितेन्द्रियस्यात्मरतेर्बुधस्य.
जितेन्द्रियत्मा रतेर्बुधस्य या
गृहाश्रमा किं नु करोत वध्यम्.
गृहाश्रमा किं नु करोति अवध्यम्. Even if he goes from forest to forest, one who is not self-controlled must always fear material bondage because he is living with 6 co-wives, the mind and knowledge acquiring senses. Even householder life, however, cannot harm the self-satisfied, learned man who has conquered his senses. Hare Krishna.
The attached person must have fear of samsara, even in the forest, because he has 6 senses as his enemies continually with him. What danger is there for the householder who sees no difference between the forest and the house, who has controlled his senses and is Atma Rama? So he says that no, forest may renounce. I mean, being a mendicant is good. Why you want me to go to family? No, what is the point? If somebody prematurely takes to Vanaprastha and comes to forest and still associated with the 6 senses, his life is miserable. But if a Atma Rama goes and stays in the family, he's okay. He's not disturbed by the worldly dualities. It's like that. Bhayam means samsara. The 6 enemies are the 6 senses who are one's enemies. For one who has intelligence, who sees there is no difference between the house and the forest, for one who is Atma Rama, for one who has controlled the senses, what faults such as attachment are there? For a person like you who is Atma Rama, even if you go home and become householder and ruler, become the ruler, there is no problem because you are already detached and you will do your duties perfectly and you are not bound by those duties. But for a premature renunciate, even when he comes to forest to perform Vanaprastha duties, he will not be able to do. He will be always fearful because he is always associating with 6 senses. 5 senses and the mind. The 6 act like the enemies. The senses will say, the mind will say, it is very cold here, it is very hot here. यहाँ पे सॉफ्ट बेड नहीं सोने का, यहाँ पे उलन ड्रग नहीं विंटर में. Like that, mind is always giving so many reasons for not to stay in the forest. They are enemies. Such a person cannot continue to perform vanaprastha duties. So like that. So this is the mood of chapter 5 Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 3 Karma Yoga. Chapter 4 Jnana Yoga. But if one prematurely renounces household order and enters into vanaprastha or sannyasa to practice jnana, such a person cannot handle the difficulties of the vanaprastha order and very soon come back home. Then Lord Krishna says it is better to continue for some more time in the grahastha order. When one thoroughly attached, when one is thoroughly purified, then only take to vanaprastha or sannyasa and practice jnana. That is good. Then prematurely entering into vanaprastha and coming back unable to tolerate the difficulties there, that is the source of criticism. Same thing here, this verse also says. Next. Yashat sapatnan vijigishamaano
यः सपत्नान् विजिगीषमानो
guruhe
गृहेषु निर्विश्ययते तपूर्वम् हत्येति दुर्गाश्रित ऊर्जितारीन् क्षीणे
क्षीणेषु कामं विचरेद् विपश्चित्.
क्षीणेषु कामं विचरेद् विपश्चित्. One who is situated in household life and who systematically conquers his mind and 5 sense organs, he is like a king in his fortress who conquers his powerful enemies. After one has been trained in household life and his lusty desires have decreased, he can move anywhere without danger.
He who desiring to conquer the senses first enters household life and attempts to control them. Having taken shelter of the fort, conquers the strong enemies and can move about as he desires with weakened senses. The normally you have directly become Aishka Brahmachari, but normal course of action is like this. There are 3 types of people in this world: those without sense control, those with sense control, and those who desire to control the senses. Some are reckless, some are completely sense control Atmaramas. The third people are sadhakas who want to control the senses. There is no fault if the first 2 types enter household life. So, those who are without sense control, yeah, because it is better to be in the household order, otherwise, you will create a lot of havoc outside. Those with sense control, anyway, you are sense controlled. If you enter into household order, there is no problem. You unnecessarily do not exploit the household order. But there is no fault if the first two enter the household life. And there is praise for the person in householder life with desires to conquer the senses. Third category person who is a sadhaka who want to control the senses, for him the suitable place is household order. Such a person is actually praised. Desiring to conquer the senses, after first situating himself in household life, one should endeavor to control them by restricting them. Yukta ahara viharasya yukta cheshasya karmashu yuksha sapna bodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha. Because an intelligent person taking shelter of a fort can conquer strong enemies, kama, krodha, lobha, mada, moha, matsara, etc. He can act in household life or elsewhere as he likes when the enemy has been minimized. He can assail the depleted enemy. Since all of us have so many desires, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to achieve this, I want to achieve that, all these desires can be slowly, organically fulfilled. And the fulfillment of those activities will be the cause of our purification only in the household order. So household order is a suitable place for our gradual purification. So that's what Brahmaji is recommending. And such a person is actually glorified, is praised actually, compared to other two people. Because the person who has no sense control, it is better actually in the household. Otherwise, he will create a society. And person anyway who is already sense controlled, anyway sense controlled, he will come back to Godhead, whether he is in household order with a renounced order. It does not make any difference to him. It is just on the path back to Godhead. While traveling from one place to other place, whether going in the car or going in the train does not matter. What matters is going to the destiny. So in that way, because he is not interested in the car or bus or train, he is only interested in going to the destiny. So for such a person, the journey is not the associate components of the journey is not the matter. For him, the journey is the matter. So in that way. But for a third person who is not completely sense controlled but want to control, for him this is the best place, which will gradually help him control his senses and protect himself and move on organically. So in that way. So this principle can be, this is for masses. This principle is for masses. The last verse for today, last verse that Brahma speaks. Tvantabjanabangri saroja kosha.
Janaభాంగ్రి సరోజకోశ
Durga Shrito Nirjita Shat Sapatna.
దుర్గాశ్రితో నిర్జిత సత్సపత్నః
Bhungshveha Bhogan Purushati Dishtan.
శ్వేహ భోగాన్ పురుషాతిదిష్టాన్
Vimukta Sangha Prakritim Bhajasva.
విముక్త సంగాః ప్రకృతిం భజస్వ. Lord Brahma continued, "My dear Priyavrata, seek shelter inside the opening in the lotus of the feet of the Lord, whose navel is also like a lotus. Thus conquer the 6 sense organs, the mind and the knowledge acquiring senses. Accept material enjoyment because the Lord extraordinarily has ordered you to do this. You will thus always be liberated from material association and be able to carry out the Lord's order in your constitutional position."
So Priyavrata might say, my going to city and becoming king, ruling over the kingdom, controlling people, getting married, having children, all these are enemies of my spiritual progress. That's why I don't want to come home. I don't want to become so and so. So Lord Brahma is saying that don't treat them as enemies. Treat them as Mahaprasad and accept them as Lord's mercy. If you take them as Mahaprasads, they will never ever trouble you. They will actually help you in spiritual progress. Your kingdom, your wife, your children, the different things that a king does, all these activities are Mahaprasad only. Treat them as Mahaprasad and accept them. They will only help you in spiritual progress instead of causing obstacle on your spiritual progress. Like that Brahmaji is saying. This is in the last verse. But you, having taken shelter of the lotus bud feet of the Supreme Lord with a lotus navel, Padmanabha, Aravindanabha, having transformed your senses from enemy to friend, should enjoy the objects given by the Lord because they are Mahaprasad. Later, giving up household life, you should worship the Lord. Don't worry. You want to worship the Lord exclusively? No problem. Right now, we are giving you some Mahaprasad, accept it, and afterwards, you can worship the Supreme Lord, no problem. There is no issue in that. Like that, Brahmaji kind of reconciling everything. But you are not among these 3 types of persons. So after stating Brahmaji that there are some attached, some detached, some people who want to become detached, 3 category of people are there in general. So, but you, Tvam tu Abjanaba, but you are not one among these three. You are actually entirely different. Who are you? Tu indicates difference. And you are a pure devotee. You are Abjanaba Angri Saroja Kosha Durga Ashrito. You have completely taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. You are actually fourth category. You are not a Atmarama like the Jnani. You are not a sense gratifier like uncontrolled. Or you are not a like a sadhaka. You are actually a Uttama Bhakta already. So don't treat all these things as the worldly subjects. Treat it as Mahaprasad. Because Uttama Bhakta accepts Mahaprasad only. So accept it as Mahaprasad. So in that way. And the fort you take shelter of is not like the material household. Your shelter is Lord's lotus feet. Even though after going home, you may be living in the Antapura, you may be taking shelter of the kingdom, all these things, they are not the material subjects, they are not the material objects. Your real shelter, whether you may be in the forest or you may be in the home, your real shelter is Krishna's lotus feet. As his only Radhanath Samara says that Gruhe tako, Vane tako, Sada Hari Bole tako. घर पे रहो और वन में रहो, it does not matter. Sada Hari Bole Taku. Same thing. You have already taken shelter to the lotus of the Supreme Lord. It will never be taken away from you. That is always with you. You are not like others who have controlled the senses because you have given up enmity with the senses which you have conquered. Your six senses are the best of friends since they are attached to the beauty of the Lord. For people in general, the senses are attached to the material world. That's why they are enemies of one's senses. So that's why one need to fight with the senses, one need to conquer the senses. But आपके लिए ऐसा नहीं. Your senses are naturally attracted to the lotus feet of Supreme Lord. They are actually best of your friend. They are actually helping you to practice bhakti more and more. भक्तों के लिए महाप्रसाद खाना मना नहीं. So like that. Enjoy the objects given especially by your master. Enjoyment arising from karma is a cause of bondage. So when he says that भक्तों को माना महाप्रसाद माना नहीं मतलब but enjoyment is the cause of bondage, then Brahma says no, the enjoyment obtained by karma is the cause of bondage, but enjoyment given by the Lord is not the cause of bondage. Bhogena punyam kushalena papam. This statement Lord tells to Dhruva, Lord tells to Prutu, Lord tells to Prahlad Maharaj. ये तीनों को भगवान ने यही बोलते, भोगेन पुण्यम कुशलेन पापम. Whatever the material facilities and material enjoyment, so-called enjoyment, whatever you people are getting, it is not a result of your karmas. It is given by me. You can take it. By taking that, you are not bound it. You are not bound by that because it is given by the Lord himself. Enjoyment arising from karma is the cause of bondage, but not enjoyment given by the Lord. When the enjoyment is given by the Lord, that is not a cause of bondage. Then later, hand over the kingdom to your son, then go to the forest and remain there worshipping the Lord. No issue. For some time, rule the kingdom, accepting it as Mahaprasad, and Mahaprasad will never bind you. Mahaprasad will never be the cause of bondage. Don't worry. So like that. So this is how our Brahmaji is passing. Same way, when we make our home Vaikunta at the temple, when all the people and all the objects in the home are an instrument of Lord's service, so utilizing them, living in the midst of them is never a cause of bondage. Everything is a Mahaprasad, and a devotee is entitled to utilize the Mahaprasad because it is given by the Lord only. That's why very many times we see some devotees, those who are completely surrendered to Supreme Lord, they also have very nice economical status and all those. They may have all these things, but they are not too attached to all these things. So they utilize everything in the service of Supreme Lord. They are not so enamored to enjoy or to have so much material phantasmagoria in this world. So like that. So then we can understand that that particular opulences are actually given by the Supreme Lord. If one person becomes flying in the sky because I am wealthy, I am this, I am that, such wealth is because of one's piety. Such enjoyment actually cause of one's bondage in the future life. So in this way, don't think that they are going to trouble you, they are going to deviate you from the path of perfection. In fact, they will all actually Mahaprasad. Even when you go to Vaikuntha also, you will be getting all these Mahaprasad. You are getting here only. Then accept it. So like that. In that way. Okay. Any questions? Hare Krishna. Devotees have any questions?
No problem.
No, no, Prabhuji.
No problem.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry if I am a little bit too heavy today, but that word suddenly came, so I thought of discussing a little bit. But that is the principle. How to implement that principle is varies from person to person, but generally that is the principle. And this principle comes time and again. Every canto, every section talks about this principle without fail. Later on, Rishabhadev teachings also the same principle once again comes. Very tough section. Afterwards, when Brahmana Bharata teaching to King Rahugana, same principle will come without fail. Every section in the Bhagavatam hitting the hammer, trying to tell us again and again, trying to remind us again and again, who are we, what should be our consciousness while living in this material world. So in that way. But still, many times we fail to learn. We are also stubborn not to learn. So, okay. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Pranam Prabhuji.
Yeah, Dhanavad
Yes,
Pranam.
Prabhuji.
We'll stop for today here. So we'll continue the remaining part of the chapter next class. That is what happened afterwards is all there in the next chapter. That will next part of the chapter we'll see that. So thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai Shila Prabhupada ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Bhaktivinoda ki Jai.
Jai.
Hare
Next
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Dhanavad
Prabhuji.
Pranam,
Hare
Dhanavad Pranam.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dhanavad.